Okay, so in this video we are going to learn about the for loop in the Python, and for loop is actually used to iterate over a sequence. So if we are going to talk about the sequence, there must be some collection of some variables, you can say, and if we talk about the collection of variable means we are talking about the list, tuple, dictionary, set and strings. So these are the collections of letters, or you can say the particular values, or you can say the collection of variables, right? So let's rather than talking, let's do it practically. So for example, I'm having a list one, which is having some values, and it should be inside the square brackets. So let's say the values are pen and paper and one more scale. Okay, so these are the values inside the list, and I want to access all these values one by one. So for that I'm going to use a for loop for x is a new variable created here, which is going to save the values from the list one by one. So as I'm accessing the list one, so I must write here list one. Okay, so I must put the colon also, and after that I'm going to write the statement to be executed according to this particular condition, you can say. So let's say I want to print the value I, right? So here x is storing the value of list one by one. Let's say x is having the value pen, and then pen is printed, then paper is printed. Oh, I have used the different variable, it should be x, right? Okay, so let's run this. So pen, paper and scale are printed one by one. These are accessed and then printed. Okay, so one more thing what we can do is, by using the for loop you can access the letters of a particular string. What does it mean? For example, for I in, I'm going to write a particular string, for example students. Students is a string and I want to access letter by letter. Okay, so by accessing letter by letter means the first I will be having the value S, then T, then U, then D and so on, right? So let's run this again. So S, T, U, D, E and T, so all these letters are accessed one by one of this particular string. Okay, so what else we can do is, let's say I want to use the break statement here. So let's say I'm going to write some condition, for example, if x equals any particular value from the list paper, then it should break. Okay, so let's see what's gonna happen. So pen is printed, paper is printed, but scale is not printed. See, I have given the condition x equal paper, that it should break. Means this for loop should break when the value of x is paper. Means first the value of x is pen, then it is printed as the print command is here, and then paper is printed, but it should not print the paper, right? But as we have write the statement print x, means the value of x is printed first, and then this particular statement is accessed by the compiler, right? So that's why the paper is also printed. So what if I don't want this paper to not to be printed? So this print statement should be here. Okay, so now let's see the difference. Okay, so now paper is not printed because the print command is given after the break. So x is having the value pen, and then this condition is checked, and if this condition is not true, so the value of x is printed. But when the value of paper is here inside the x, this condition is true, and then this for loop is going to break and it will not execute for the rest of the values. As you can see, there is only one value here. So let's say I'm going to use the continue statement here. Continue. Okay, so let's run this again. So you can see the value pen and paper, pen and scale is printed, paper is not printed, because continue just skip the execution for this particular condition, and then it keep on continuing the for loop, means executing the rest of the statement for the for loop, inside the for loop, you can say. Okay. Okay, so what else we can do here is, let's say I want to use the function range here. Okay, so just in case if I don't want anything to be printed for this particular for loop, right? X is storing the value pen, paper, and then scale, and I don't want to print the values. So what we can do is we just write the pass, because there must be something to be there for the for loop. So the indentation is not right. Okay, so I'm going to use the pass to be executed when this for loop executes. So there is no statement, but when I write the pass, there is no error for the loop, right? So what else we can do is, let's say I want to access a particular range for I in range, you can say 6, let's say 10. Okay, so print the value I. Okay, so what this will do, it will keep on printing the value of I in range of 10, means the value from 0 to 9 will be printed, not the 10, because the range start from 0. So there are 10 values, but the range start from 0, right? 0 to 9. Okay, so what this range function is, we have already discussed in the previous video. There are 3 parameters you can pass if I want this range to be started from 2 to 10. So this is the starting point and 10 is the ending point, you can say. So it should stop at 9. Okay, so the value, last value is 9 and the first value is 2. Okay, so there's one more parameter. What we can do is we just write the range from 2 to 30, and then we can mention the increment. Let's say 2, means you can say the difference between the two numbers. So the range will start from 2 and end with the number 30, but the difference between the two values will be 2. Okay, so let's run this again. Okay, so the last value is 30, because this value will not be included, and the difference between the values is 2, 4, 6, 8, and up to the 20, right? Okay, so there's one more thing I want to discuss here is, let's say we are having two lists. List 2 is having some values like apple, banana, and let's say cherry. Okay, so these two lists, I want to access one value from the list 1 and one value from the list 2. So for that I can use the nested for loop. So for x in list 1 and for x, I'm going to use a different variable here because x is used for the list 1. So for y in list 2, oh, there should be colon. Okay, so list 2 colon, and print x y. Okay, so both the list will be accessed simultaneously. One value from the list 1 stored inside the x, and one value from the list 2 will be stored inside the y, and one by one both the values are printed. Okay, so let's run this. Okay, so you can see first x pen, then apple, then pen banana, then pen cherry, and so on. All these values are printed here. Okay,